Today we are gathered to celebrate the graduation of Class 19-009. For the past 3 weeks, these NCOs have learned leadership, counseling, coaching, mentoring, Army writing, critical thinking, and problem solving to prepare them as leaders for their respective recruiting and retention battalions. At this time, it is with great pleasure to introduce the Connecticut Army National Guard State Command Sergeant Major John Carracher. Command Sergeant Major Carracher is the State Command Sergeant Major for the Connecticut Army National Guard. As State Command Sergeant Major, he serves as the personnel and confidential advisor to the Adjutant General on all matters pertaining to the enlisted personnel and the overall readiness, training, operations, and administration of the Connecticut Army National Guard. Command Sergeant Major Carracher enlisted in the Connecticut National Guard on 2 February 1982 in the 143rd Military Police Company as a military police soldier. His assignments have included leadership and staff positions at every level of the Connecticut Army National Guard, from team leader to J3 Sergeant Major, culminating with his selection as the State Command Sergeant Major on April 14, 2012. Command Sergeant Major Carracher operational deployment experience includes mobilizations in support of Operations Desert Shield, Operation Desert Storm, Operation Noble Eagle, and Operation Iraqi Freedom. Additionally, he has supported operations in U.S. Army South, Panama, Katrina relief operations in Louisiana, airport security operations in Connecticut, and key asset protection operations in Connecticut. Command Sergeant Major Carracher's military education includes all levels of NCO PDS, the Battle Staff NCO course, Physical Security Inspectors course, Military Police Special Reaction Team course, DoD Individual Non-Lethal Weapons Instructor course, Instructor Training course, Small Group Leader course, Technical Escort course, the Nominative Command Sergeant Major and Sergeant Major Force Management course, the NORAD and NORTHCOM Joint Task Force Commanders course, and numerous others. Command Sergeant Major Carracher is a 2013 graduate of the National Defense University Keystone course. Command Sergeant Major Carracher has been invested in the Order of the Silver Star by the United States Army Military Police Regimental Association. Command Sergeant Major Carracher is a life member of the Veterans of Foreign Wars of the United States, the Enlisted Association of the National Guard of the United States, the National Guard Association of Connecticut. He is a member of the Association of the United States Army and the United States Army Military Police Regimental Association. Command Sergeant Major Carracher was raised in Newington, Connecticut, and currently resides in Southington, Connecticut, with his wife Lucy and 2 sons, John and Matthew. It is with great pleasure to introduce Command Sergeant Major Carracher.
Well, I wouldn't use that if you don't mind. Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much. Thanks for allowing me to be here today. It's yet another perfect day to be an American soldier. I couldn't think of a better place that I'd rather be. I get to spend time with soldiers, completing yet another step in their non-commissioned officer professional development. I'd like to extend Command Sergeant Major Sampa's best wishes and congratulations on your most recent achievement. It is also my pleasure to try and represent him and the other 53 State Command Sergeants Major on this momentous occasion. A very special thanks to the families that are here. What we do as soldiers, day in and day out, literally could not be done without your support and being at home and doing the heavy lifting. And I'm, deeply, deeply appreciative of that. The Strength Management Training Center here at PEC is the only source of professional military education for Army National Guard recruiting professionals. And they do a fantastic job. In addition to the formal courses they conduct, the SMTC serves as the proponent for the 79 Tango military occupational specialty and works hand in hand with the NGB Strength Management Division and the 54 recruiting and retention battalions around the country. No small task for a relatively small organization with an enormously important mission. So the first thing you guys are probably asking yourself, you heard my bio, why is this CSM standing in front of me as you're graduating from SLC as a recruiting retention professional? I don't have a 79 Tango MOS. You don't see an ASI 4. I'm not wearing a recruiting badge, much less a master badge like most, if not all of you are. I've never been a professional recruiter. All that said, I do have a little bit of experience with soldiers and a little bit of experience with running units in our Army National Guard. So I can't really speak that well on the first tenet of strength management, or maintenance, being recruiting. I can talk about the other two, attrition and retention. I will try to hit on all three and what my peers and I think you can do to make us all successful in what is probably our most important mission. Although many of our leaders out there might not see it that way, unfortunately. The art and science of your profession is one that continuously amazes me. The majority of our recruiters are successful and achieve their assigned missions. When you consider the mission you have, the percentage of the population that meets the basic qualification to serve, and the ever more stringent entrance standards, it's amazing to me that we are as successful as we are. That does not even take into consideration the number of young Americans that actually want to serve. The changes in our society that in many ways are not in line with our core Army values also works against you. At the enterprise level, we have decided what soldier looks like, what soldier acts like, what his or her background and aptitude should be. We've also decided that we want about 1.1 million of those across three components of our Army. I'm not convinced that the population of the United States truly supports that requirement. I'm not saying I disagree with the standard, I'm just saying it might not be feasible. And yet, you guys make it happen. Amazing. The next tenet of strength maintenance is retention. Getting soldiers through and beyond their initial commitment. I think retention is harder because there are more external drivers that influence retention. Family, job, time, physical fitness, schools, etc. On top of that, if the soldier made a commitment to us and we made a commitment to the soldier and we both fulfilled our commitments, we break even, right? The second part of the equation is where I can use your help. Are we keeping our commitment to our soldiers? Oftentimes, you being at the units you support, and you'll see and hear things that commanders and first sergeants may not. Our commanders and first sergeants, like almost all of us, have 10 pounds of stuff to fit in a 5-pound bag, and there's still only 24 hours in a day. I would ask that you be a part of the feedback cycle for the commanders that you support. Participate in what your units have going on. Help your commanders visualize the battlefield. Retention is all about keeping soldiers decisively engaged with meaningful, challenging training. Retention is not about filling out little cards every month that proves that we did something, right? Okay, that's not what it's about. Documentation is important, but we have to get beyond it. I also think we're missing the boat in many cases on who does retention. The most effective retention NCOs I have ever seen are staff sergeants, from the unit that have been given retention as an additional duty. And retention is all that they do. The commander makes a commitment and dedicates that resource solely to retention. Retention is not something that the state or brigade or battalion retention team does, right? Those guys can help us, but at the end of the day, commanders are the ones that make that stuff happen. It is internal to the unit, executed by small unit leaders that love their unit. I would ask that you talk with the commanders and first sergeants you support and make sure the program is solid in the units that you have. Attrition is probably the hardest of the three tenets for you guys to influence. Attrition is, by definition, losses that are outside the retention eligible window. This includes a wide variety of losses, from retirements to interstate transfers to AWOLs. I think you can characterize attrition losses as manageable and unmanageable. Manageable attrition are soldiers that you recruited, were trained, handed off to the unit, and for whatever reason decided to stop coming. How can you help? Make sure you're on your unit's IDT strength report. If you see an AWOL soldier that are privates, PFCs, okay, find out what the problem is. At that point in that soldier's career, you or one of your peers probably have the best relationship with that soldier. Reach out and find out the issue. We can often solve soldier problems a whole lot easier when we find out about it early than we find out about it later. Okay, so I covered the important stuff about recruiting and retention, right? Did I do okay? Did I hit the right stuff? Okay, so now let's talk about the stuff in the business that we are all in, and that's about the people business. Okay? Today, each of you graduates from the Senior Leader course. Hopefully that means that you will soon be, if you're not already, promoted to Sergeant First Class. I hope you have an appreciation of the significance of that step in each of your careers. I believe it is the second most significant promotion in a soldier's career, second only to the day that you initially became a non-commissioned officer. It is also very similar to that day. When you first pinned on stripes, you were no longer one of the guys. You were a leader, and your superiors expected more. You had to make a defined break with your peer group. Although not quite as drastic, your promotion to Sergeant First Class brings about change as well. No longer do you have the luxury of simply accomplishing your mission. You are expected to lead larger groups of soldiers. You are expected to be the subject matter expert. No longer can you merely identify problems. You are expected to anticipate problems and bring solutions to the table so that we can solve them. Not an easy job. Be ready for it. In order to accomplish your mission, there are many things you will need to do. They can kind of be broken down into what you need to do for the mission, what you need to do for your soldiers, and what you need to do for yourself. In your chosen profession, conventional wisdom tells me that it should be easy to define success. You either enlist X number of soldiers or you don't, right? Okay, pretty simple. Everybody goes from hero to zero on 30 September, right? Just the way the profession kind of works. All there is the number, and the number is all there is, right? I would ask that you look beyond that and look deeper into your definition of success and failure. Obviously, the mission that you and your soldiers are assigned is the main effort. There's more to it, though. So how do we evaluate soldiers and select them, or how do we select soldiers to be promoted? Anybody? How do we do that? Right? We have a board, right? Okay? When we do our boards, do soldiers go to the board? Do they? No, they don't, right? Okay? So what do we use as part of that board process to evaluate soldiers? They're NCOERs, right? So if you take a look under there, you'll see one of the documents down there is an NCO support form. Please pull it out. So the most important function that we have as leaders is to ensure the next generation is postured to take our places. To do that, we have an annual appraisal of performance and potential. What are we historically bad at? Anybody? Somebody said it over here. Sergeant Ingram, what are we historically bad at? Say? Okay, paperwork. I would say we're historically bad at evaluating our people. Right? Be honest now, who's actually been counseled on their performance? Okay? You answered my question. In order to ensure mission success, we must do a better job evaluating soldiers. It starts with the support form. I gave you mine, and if yours doesn't look something like the one that you've got in front of you, okay, as an example, filled out by you and your rater, you're probably part of the problem. And you know what? If the NCOs that you supervise don't have a support form that looks something like that, you're definitely part of the problem. Okay? If you have to make it a pull system with your rater, do it. And then use that approved support form with your soldiers so everybody understands what the mission, the commander's intent is, and can define success more so than 26 people. Okay? So what do you need to do for your soldiers? First and foremost, you need to be the standard bearer. You need to be the leader that your soldiers want to be. As I said earlier, it is our job to prepare the next generation. We all have expiration dates. Teach them both the science and the art of our profession. Use the benefit of your experience to watch out for the landmines that are in our path. Your chosen profession has a lot of them. Don't limit yourself to training soldiers. How many of you have had recruiting and retention battalion commanders or XOs or warrant officers that actually had a recruiting background when they came into recruiting? Probably not too many. Just like platoon sergeants train platoon leaders and first sergeants train company commanders, it is always our job to assist in the professional development of our officer corps. One of the other handout that I gave you there talks about training and training soldiers. It appeared on the back cover of NCO Journal many years ago. It's been under the glass on my desk ever since. The last line is my favorite. Sergeant, train me, that I too earn the title sergeant. So what do you need to do for yourself? That's often a hard question. I think we need to remember that taking care of ourselves, our family, and our career is not the opposite of selfless service. Your profession is a high-stress environment. Manage your leave. Take the time off that you can and decompress. When you take leave, significantly increase the time you spend with family and significantly decrease the time you spend with your phone. Find a time that works best for you and establish and stay on a regular PT schedule. Besides the fact that we need to stay physically fit, it's a great stress reliever. Beware the temptation to self-medicate with alcohol or anything else. Don't let yourself become one-dimensional. Enjoy every day that you get to be the face of our Army. Relish the fact that you are one of the very first memories that our soldiers will have of their time in the Army. Make it a good memory. I want to leave you with one final handout. It's the one titled SMA's Top 10 Rules for Non-Commissioned Officers. I think it was originally published in Stars and Stripes. It is quoted from Sergeant Major of the Army Dan Daly. Although originally directed at Sergeants Major, the message is valid for all of us. I'm only going to read the title line. You can read the rest of them. SMA's Top 10 Rules for Non-Commissioned Officers. Yelling doesn't make you skinny, PT does. Think about what you're going to do and what you're going to say before you say it. If you find yourself having to remind everyone all of the time that you're the Sergeant Major and in charge, you're probably not. You have to work very hard at being more informed and less emotional. Number 5, if you can't have fun every day, then you need to go home. Number 6, don't be the feared leader. It doesn't work. Number 7, don't do anything, and I mean anything, negative over email. Number 8, it's okay to be nervous. All of us are. Number 9, if your own justification for being an expert in everything you do is your 28 years of military experience, then it's time to fill out your 4187 and end your military experience. And number 10, never forget, you're just a soldier. Non-commissioned officers, congratulations on this great day. I thank you for letting me be a small part of it. I wish you the very best as you continue to lead our soldiers and our Guard. You are our future. Army strong, but always go Guard. Thank you.
Sergeant Major, thank you for those phenomenal and outstanding words of encouragement.